another very important part of our equipment, and that is our Humminbird electronics. Your electronics are your eyes under the water, and Hummingbird's technology is second to none. They're leading the way in the industry right now, and the guys that are using this technology definitely have a competitive edge out there. So, as you will see in the Pro Mega segment of this video, we graphed out a rock pile, we backed off, we laid that 5/8 Pro Mega jig up there on the rock pile, and on the very first cast, we, boom, jacked a 5-pounder. That was pretty awesome. And I accredit that fish catch solely to my Humminbird units. So here from Humminbird is Dave Port, and he's going to show you some of the advantages to using the Humminbird side imaging system.
Hi, I'm David Port. I'm with Minn Kota and Humminbird, and what we're going to talk about today is the 1197 side imaging unit. And I'm going to walk you through a few steps to make some simple adjustments in it so the unit will work at its best ability for you. Okay, what we've got here are some, looks like some old foundations out here. And what I've done is hit the arrow keypad here, which freezes my screen. Okay, when we do that, what that's telling us is from center line, which is the transom of the boat or the transducer, we are at 0 feet. And the cursor where it's located here is now 207 feet behind the boat. This is where GPS markability with the side imaging unit is so important. Now what I'll do is cursor over to this object by the arrow keypad. I can actually mark that target anywhere on it now, dead on, even though it is behind us. We've seen this every time with sonar. Real-time stuff is going to always be here. Anything that we see, generally whether it be 2D sonar or side imaging sonar, is going to be history by the time we actually see the full detail on the page. So again, now it's telling me it's 213 feet or 215 feet behind us. We're drifting away from it. It is 57 feet, 57.8 feet to the left of my boat is where that object was when we found it. So now let's take a better look at it. We're going to zoom this, hit this the zoom button up here, which is going to zoom this up. We can zoom up 6 times over an object from what we currently see on the screen once we froze it. So there's a 2-time zoom, and we can actually look at this a little better detail. And it looks like we've got an old foundation here. What's left of it, there's a rock wall. You can see here. How we know that is there's a white edge to that target right there, and a little shadow behind it, which tells me that that wall is probably a foot tall or so off the bottom, which would obviously lead me to believe it's old foundation down there, and a bunch of old busted up rocks still around it that you can see on the screen. Now, to make adjustments to that, if we want to brighten or darken that image, we'll hit our menu button 1 time. We're going to come down here to our sensitivity. We're going to highlight that. We can turn it down, which you can see the screen will get a little darker there. That's a little too dark. Or we can brighten that screen, which right now would be too much. So we're too hot right now. If you'll notice the number on that screen, it's going to probably be about 8 is where it's going to look its best. If we want to change the color to it, to look at it in a different color, we'll come down here to the SI colors. We can change that to brown, which now you can see we'd have to turn the sensitivity up a little bit. We can change it to a gray, or we can change it to an inverse. Most of the time in situations, high bright skies like today, I use blue. On dark cloudy days, I use brown. Now, if we want to mark that object, whatever's in the center of our box is going to mark that target as a waypoint, create it. It's going to number it for us. We can then go in later on and edit it, call it a foundation, rocks, whatever we want to do at that point in time. That's really all there is to getting the unit set up. When you first turn the unit on, go in, hit your menu button 1 time. You can look right or left. I usually run the unit both sides. Come down, bring that sensitivity up. The deeper you get, obviously, the higher you're going to have to turn the sensitivity up. Come down, check your range. When you bring it out of the box and install it on your boat, it's going to come up to 150 feet. You want to bring that range down to 100, and then hit your menu button for the 2nd time. Come over to the sonar beam select and make sure that this is on 200/83. Also, come over to setup and come down here to the menu user mode it will be on normal. Turn it to advanced. Exit out of your menus. Split your screen, hit your view button, split your screen into 2D and side imaging where you're sharing the screen. Go out on your favorite lake, find your brush pile, your rock pile, start driving right over top of it. And what you'll see then is you'll get a mirror image on both right and left side imaging and what you're used to seeing in 2D sonar. We're sitting on a kind of a rocky shelf rock kind of point, and you're actually, this white ridge you're seeing is actually a stair step, if you would, of that underneath the dock there where that rock is coming up. And then on the back side here where it's kind of hard to see it, but it's kind of chaff like, that is brush, thin brushes up underneath that dock. It's not a very big pile, but there is a brush underneath there. On the left side of the screen, more importantly to me than that brush on the dock, is what's out in front of there in 30-35 foot of water is a ledge. You've got this point coming out. You can see we're getting shallower as we came up on the point, but the ledge, we've got some big busted up rock right here, and then out in front of that here where you see these big shadows, you're actually seeing a ledge where that stair step is falling off. That's probably a 6 to 8 foot drop, maybe a little more than that. And how we know that is by the shadow, the length of the shadow coming off there, because the side imaging beam shooting off to the side of that can't bend and see below it. So you're getting that big shadow of that ledge from the drop there. Good place to hold fish.